So rather than working on my truck today, I'm working on my 1993 Toyota MR2 with the 4th generation 3S GTE swap. Specifically, I'm going to be shortening my throttle cable and applying a new barrel end. This is because the MR2 Heaven Holy Grail cable I have, when adjusted all the way out, still has a little too much slop in it, not allowing the throttle body to open fully. As you can see here with the cable pulled tight, I can't even mount it to the throttle body. To fix this, I decided I was going to cut off the end of the cable to shorten it and put on one of these replacement cable ends. I picked it up at my local O'Reilly's. It's a Dorman 03336 assortment pack. At this point, I adjusted the throttle cable so I had adjustment in both directions to tighten or loosen it, and then just pulled the cable tight and marked where I wanted to cut it. This throttle cable is roughly 2 millimeters thick, and the opening in the side of the barrel that came in this kit was not wide enough to fit it. You can see here I'm trying to thread it on there, and this is even after I used a 5/64 drill bit to widen it a little bit. As you can see here, I did end up getting the cable to fit in, but having to take it off, fill it with flux, and prepare it to solder, I knew this was going to take too long. So I ended up using a 1/8 drill bit to widen it. The barrel already had a hole on both sides, so I just widened both of them because I knew I'd use the opposite end to fill with solder. So you can see here that I put flux on the end of the cable and also inside of the barrel. For this project, I just used lead-free tinning flux and silver lead-free solder that I had laying around from previous house plumbing projects. This barrel cable end originally was intended to be used with just a set screw on the side that you'd thread in against the cable to hold it in place. I threaded screws into both sides in an attempt to keep the solder from running out. Pretty quickly the barrel heats up, causing the flux to boil and ultimately running down the cable. Not a bad idea to throw some gloves on. Sorry for the poor camera angle. I was a little too focused on what I was doing and not so much on how I was recording. But you get the idea. Heat it up, apply the solder, heat it up, apply the solder. Try not to burn yourself. I know, bear with me here. It's not looking so great. But I ended up pulling one of the screws out of the side and decided I was going to use that to apply the solder into the barrel. As you can see, once I got it hot enough, it just liquefied the solder, pulled it in to the point where it's coming out that other hole I had drilled. Probably not a bad idea to make sure you have something down, just in case hot solder decides to drip. Okay, looking a little bit better. Got a little bit of solder coming off the top. Not a big deal, we'll take care of that. I ended up firing the torch up a little bit more and wanted to straighten out the barrel. It was a little cockeyed on the end, so I just heated it up and just used some pliers once it got just hot enough that I could adjust it. Next, I got out the Dremel, put a wire cut brush on there, and got to work just kind of cleaning off all the carbon and the buildup from the soldering process. Next, I put a grinding attachment on the Dremel and started working on removing the solder buildup on top of the barrel. All in all, considering this is the first time I've ever had to do something like this, I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out. I reassembled the cable into the throttle body, and I'm pretty happy with the finished product. The cable itself is nice and tight, and there's still enough adjustment left should this thing stretch over time. There's no more slack felt in the pedal, and the throttle body opens fully. Thanks for watching.